I'm Danny Otto. Welcome into an all-new episode of That Recap Show. Now, before we get into the episode, just wanted to announce, major spoiler alert, we are going to be going over everything that happened in Season 2, Episode 5 of the Marvel What If series. So if you haven't seen that episode yet, you may want to pause this video, head over to Disney+, check out that episode, and then come back and enjoy the breakdown. Now, with that out of the way, let's start the show!
Poppin' Off presents That Recap Show.
All right, joining with me to break down everything from Season 2, Episode 5 of the What If series, it's Johnny Rico!
Hey!
Hey!
How you doing? So funny.
That'll stay between you and I, unless I decide to throw the picture of it up right here.
Nope.
Anyway, Episode 5. Yeah, I mean, look, this was, I feel like, the first full episode that we got with one of the multiverse guardians from Season 1, right? Like, full episode.
Yeah, the first real sequel to the Season 1, I would say.
And we even got Watcher in his introduction talking about he doesn't normally do sequels, but
right.
we're coming back around. Look,
you do a prequel though.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I enjoyed this episode, and kind of both of us have talked a little bit about this back and forth, but I think it was I guess a really cool standout element of this episode is that they took stuff from Captain America, Winter Soldier, and they took elements from the Black Widow movie, and they kind of just cooked everything together. Like they made a soup of an episode, basically. We got elements from a bunch of different things that we've had before, I guess, and kind of a different scenario, obviously, because we have Captain Carter, so it's a different situation, and we have Steve as the Hydra Stomper and aka the Winter Soldier, kind of. But there were some elements that kind of, we can, at least I can recognize from our live action MCU days, and right. Some good elements in that. I'm not saying in to take away from this episode or to say that that was just copying or anything like that. I just think it was really cool how they were able to kind of pull in these elements to something familiar and then kind of rewrite the story a little bit with, another character that we know from Season 1 with Captain Carter and live action. We've had Captain Carter live action also. So that was all these elements made a nice little stew of an episode, I think. That's my quote of the episode. Rico, what was some of your initial reactions to Episode 5?
Yeah, I think Marvel is really at their best when they do this spy thriller, political espionage type of stuff, like Winter Soldier and Black Widow. I just have a lot of fun with that style of storytelling, especially when it comes to the Captain America world, or in this case, Captain Carter. Yeah, I some of the stuff that I was reminded of in this episode was just how cool the Red Room looks in the sky like that. I was oh yeah, people don't give Black Widow a ton of love. I think it's a pretty solid movie. It's a fun action movie, a good it just came out the wrong time, I guess, because of what the character was at, right? But everything else about it that was fantastic, and I think the whole Red Room aspect of it was just really cool. And it's something I really would like to see fleshed out a little bit more throughout Black Widow's time in the MCU. So getting to see put to use here in a Captain America / Captain Carter-esque storyline was really fun, especially when you incorporate Steve and the Hydra Stomper into it. So yeah, like you said, it played on elements of both movies really well, and it made for a really cool storyline, especially and I also love when they throw in stuff between Steve and Peggy. I think anytime we just have them in a human form, their scenes together is just always really great, and it's just really fun to really kind of visit that every now and then.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I enjoyed the Black Widow movie. I think not only did it come out at a bad time because we were in the middle of COVID and stuff, so it was a very awkward release. Because I think it released in the theaters for
Oh yeah, there was all
like
that stuff.
half a
Yeah.
month, and then it was on Disney Plus. I mean, I paid for early access to be able to watch it on because I was that excited for it. But also, I feel like it kind of released in the wrong time, like in the wrong order of the MCU. Like if we had gotten that before Infinity War,
Yeah, after
I
Civil War.
yeah,
Yeah,
like
that's like where the movie actually takes place.
right. So
Yeah.
even if we had gotten it before Civil War, and we had, I mean, even if we've got it before Infinity War, and still after some of the projects that were between that and Civil War, it still would have been, I feel like, received better because we already knew what the outcome was going to be. We already knew what like the events were, and it was years after stuff.
Yeah.
So it was just awkward timing. I feel like it just didn't get the love that it kind of deserved because it was just like you said, it had some really awesome parts as a movie in general. And
Give us Yelena though, which we can always thank them for that. So
we did get Yelena. Yeah, I am
Yeah.
super happy to see Yelena. I think we're gonna see her in Thunderbolts next.
Yeah.
So that's gonna be good too. But you want to get to some big takeaways?
Yeah, let's do it.
Awesome. All right, why don't you kick off big takeaways?
Okay. There was really like a lot of like small things in this episode that I really like kind of noticed as I watched this for a second time. The first one is when Steve confronts old Bucky, which I thought seeing older Bucky was really cool as well. When he talks to him and Bucky's trying to like talk some sense into him, like kind of get him back into like normal Steve mode. I feel like there was a good chance to kind of call back to Winter Soldier when Bucky says, "Who the hell is Bucky?" by having Steve say like, "Who the hell is Bucky?" and then have him kind of like turn on him a little bit. So I'm like, oh, that would have been a cool little like throwback line if they would have done that. But to me, that's just like a little missed opportunity. The second thing is mannequins are terrifying. Even Aiden Carter says it's like I feel like I'm walking through a horror movie right now.
Yeah.
Like them walking through there and then they start to attack him and I was like, oh my gosh, this seems like a nightmare to me. More so than anything like spiders for people or clowns. I think mannequins like just kind of being weird or just what it is in Loki too. They had a shot of Miss Minutes on a mannequin that was really freaky to me. And Marvel's doing weird stuff with mannequins lately. And then there's the third thing in there actually is a little throwaway line where they talk about Captain Carter having a movie, and she's like, "I had a movie," and then Black Widow's like, "It was a musical," which I think is a kind of a funny joke in itself because we've been having the Steve Rogers musical thrown at us since Hawkeye and all that. So again, I think Marvel does a really good job of doing like these little fun like meta jokes within itself, and it's just like if you know the MCU well enough, you're gonna pick up on these little things, and it makes the experience a lot more enjoyable to watch.
Yeah, absolutely. Just like you said, I think there were a lot of like even throughout this entire season, there's been like these little things every once in a while that are just there to kind of poke fun at themselves or poke fun at theories and stuff like that. So it's always really interesting to be able to like pick up on all that stuff. And I do have to say, mannequins are absolutely terrifying. I'm 100% in agreement with you. There was an older episode of Doctor Who where mannequins were like coming to life too, and they just the like awkward way that they were like walking like terrified me. Like I was really freaked out by that too.
Nervy.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I mean, I think the most shocking thing from this episode was seeing old Bucky and the fact that he was a U.S. senator. I think is what they were saying.
I thought when I first saw him, I was like, oh, is he doing like the Alexander Pierce thing, like in Winter Soldier? And then it said senator. I was like, oh, that's so weird. He grew to be like a senator. I'm like, how old would he be at that? I'm like, he's like, gotta be close to like his 80s and 90s, considering where Steve was at the end of Endgame, right? But I even like that Sebastian Stan even adds like a little bit of like he almost sounds a little bit like Clint Eastwoody in the way he talks. He's kind of adds a little bit like a gruff to his voice because he's older now, and I'm like, oh yeah, it's really fun.
Yeah, absolutely. The only thing I could think of in like when I was watching this or not the only thing, there's plenty of things to think about, but a big thing that I thought of after the episode was we have Secret Wars coming up into our live action MCU. Eventually, it's on the horizon. Like we're still years out from that. I get that. So I'm not in a rush to get there. There's plenty of projects that we have leading up to that. But with that in like sight, it would be really cool if we got some characters from alternate realities or from different universes and stuff like that pulled into that movie that we've never had interactions with. And I've been saying that. That's the reason why there's certain things that I like about all of these episodes where we're getting characters that, hadn't ever interacted with each other, like, Tony and Korg and just like other characters and stuff like that we never got. One that I'd be really interested to see is our Steve Rogers, Captain, like that becomes Captain America, and Captain Carter, like
both
being together. Because it looks like in every universe, no matter who becomes the super soldier of the two, both of them become heroes, like type of thing. Because in season 1, the whole Hydra Stomper storyline was Steve, still wanting to be able to help. So he worked with Tony Stark's father to build the Hydra Stomper thing. So either way, in every universe, it seems like both of them become heroes. And so I just think it would be a really cool pairing to have both of them as super soldiers kind of together, and seeing that kind of interaction play out a little bit, and kind of, just seeing that, because they in every universe they care about each other. In every universe they're both heroes. Like, I just think it would be really interesting. It was just a thought that I had, because we have gotten a live action Captain Carter in Multiverse of Madness, and obviously, we've had plenty of films with our live action Steve Rogers being Captain America. So I just think it would be cool. It would be a cool pairing, and I'd like to see that play out for a few minutes on the big screen.
Maybe there's a what if timeline out there where they both took the serum at the same time and were like this kind of like dynamic duo during like the war times. It'd be interesting to see.
Yeah, I'd like that. That would be awesome. And then maybe in that universe, we also got Bucky as Winter Soldier, and they were able to turn him a little bit quicker back to Bucky, and then we get 3 super soldiers for the price of 1.
And we're the 3 best friends that anybody could have. We're the 3 best friends that anyone could have.
Boom.
It's a value you can't argue with.
Yeah. Don't forget Isaiah Bradley later on.
There we go. 4. Boom.
We got a whole super team of soldiers. So
yeah,
and that's a whole show in itself.
That's the Avengers right there. That's the core of the Avengers. I think we just wrote an episode.
We just pitched a concept right there. Boom.
Season 3. Come on. Anyway, you want to get to some predictions?
Yeah, let's do it.
Awesome. All right, I'm gonna kick off predictions with that ending. Like, that's all I need to say is that ending. Yeah. But I'm guessing like this is finally, I'm not even gonna say a hint, this is finally a scene of the main team up storyline that we're going to, start seeing take shape. And I mean, the obvious choice is Captain Carter from the original multiverse Guardians that the Watcher had, assembled in the first place, type of thing. So she's kind of already used to being thrown into another universe out of nowhere, and she actually blames the Watcher immediately.
Yeah, I would say aside from the Watcher, she's the closest thing to like a main character in the show. Like she is like the face of What If, essentially.
Yeah. I mean, she's a very strong character, and she's the leader, I guess, so far.
She's been in it most, like probably more than anybody else. She's gonna be the one they're gonna bring back, and they're gonna play on that whole like she's not comfortable being out of time, so she can just kind of be a hero in all these different timelines, which is pretty cool. But through the Watcher,
right? What I'm interested in, and is to see, I guess, who all is going to be on this. Who's going to fill out the roster of this new multiverse Guardians group? Because last time we kind of got just a hodgepodge of people, type of thing. You know what I mean? Like it was almost like the Watcher was just like grabbing people, like in a frenzy.
From each episode too. So it was like, we were seeing everybody with like a purpose too, and it feels like we're only getting. It feels like it's taken a long time for us to get like our first glimpse of something bigger to come.
Right, absolutely, and I mean, I'm just really interested to see kind of, because I mean, obviously, we've read ahead to all the titles and stuff like that. I'm interested for every episode, how we're going to work that into the overarching, I guess, storyline type of thing. Because at this point in season 1, we definitely already had we were able to start connecting the dots at this point. And I think we even, do you remember what episode we started having Ultron in and the Watcher?
It was the final 2 episodes of the season, but we'd already seen shots of like the Guardians or the multiverse already, so we'd able to pick apart like which episodes they were in by watching them.
Right.
This one, I don't think we've had anything kind of like that, so we can't really decipher who or when's going to show up.
Yeah, and that's why like there's really not too much we can predict, except like saying that like it's cool that we're starting to see little hints at what the main team up's going to be, and kind of we're starting to stuff is starting to take shape, and stuff is going to start having like more of a through line arc, and we'll see how every episode's going to connect after this.
Yeah, absolutely.
But do you have any? I mean, like I said, it's very hard to predict anything because, like you said, we haven't really seen any, images of the full roster of the team and everything like that. But do you have anything that you, I guess, want to see moving forward, or any dots that you can think of that are going to start connecting moving forward after this?
Well, this is a pretty cool, I think, kind of tease for this character because one week she gets pulled into like not just like another universe in like a modern day timeline. She's getting pulled into like medieval timeline,
Yeah.
and we're gonna get to see a cool little take on Marvel 1602, which is a Neil Gaiman comic series that he did. He also did comics like The Sandman and stuff like that. So like I'm very excited to see like the MCU take on like comic like that because I'm sure there's going to be a lot of similarities and of course the MCU play on it.
Yeah.
And of course how that episode is going to play into the what however there's going to go into the finale, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, I'm just really excited. Like each episode is just a fun ride, so it's just really kind of fun to go episode by episode and just enjoy it.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm enjoying all of this, and I hope you guys are out there too, because this is the halfway point at this point. This is our halfway point.
Essentially, yeah, we're on the back half of the season now.
Yeah, I mean, in every series at this point, now things are going to start taking shape, and now things are going to start, hopefully filling out so that we know what's going on, so we can lead like full steam ahead to the finale and everything like that. But as we always say, that's what we think. Let us know in the comments below. What did you think of episode 5? And who do you think is going to ultimately fill out the roster for our multiverse group, our multiverse guardians, basically moving forward? And as always, don't forget, like, subscribe, and turn on notifications to hear about all of our latest audio and video podcast releases. Bye, everybody!
Popping Off presents That Recap Show.